Hello, everybody. I will speak about the nature of life and the role of culture in transforming human relations to nature for mutual well-being. All living beings must govern their own behavior according to biological purposes. Every animal has some kind of sensory system through which it can perceive its own internal and external changes. It has motor functions that help it respond to changes, and it has a nervous system that coordinates the relationships between perception and motor functions, making the decisions needed to, as the common wisdom tells nowadays, survive and reproduce. In this crucial respect of survival, the exact theoretical biology discovering the universal principle of life presents a fundamental improvement. The universal principle of life is the following. It is discovered by Erwin Bauer, an eminent Hungarian biologist. The living and only the living organisms are never in equilibrium and, through their free energy, are continuously working against that equilibrium which, within the given initial conditions, would be required by the physico-chemical laws. And the living organisms are acting against equilibrations, decay. They are acting for transforming themselves high above the physical equilibrium, which would be lethal. It would be death. Life is fundamentally the continuous activity to transform the states of living organisms as high above the survival level as possible. And this is the essence of life. Not survival, just mere survival, but it makes sense only when life is high above death, high above survival. Generalizing this principle, I found that the ultimate aim of life is well-being, and a comprehensive well-being, which is physical, emotional, and intellectual, individual, social, and natural well-being. All of them together, because all of them counts for our quality of life. Natural well-being is our relation with nature. This result makes sense, since nobody would like to survive in a coma-like state in most miserable conditions, without any possibility for improving its life. So, the primary function, it is an important message. The primary function of the nervous system is to model life and the world for comprehensive well-being. The complex interactions of the living and inanimate components of the environment are represented and modeled by a highly complex neural network capable of simulating these interactions. Based on the operation of the intellectual model, the animal is able to predict important, predictable changes in the internal and external environment and make decisions about its behavior based on this. Animal communities are the same in this respect. They have also something like what we can call the nervous system of the animal groups or communities or populations. These populations or animal communities also create models of the internal and external environment within the framework of the animal community's culture, experience, and traditions. Each animal culture is, in fact, a complex model of which not only the environment but also the members of the group are the components, and which is able to provide clear decisions about what to do in different situations. This is what Vilmos Csányi, the eminent ethnologist, writes in his book. According to comprehensive worldview, the primary function of culture of animal groups is to model life and the world for the purpose of comprehensive well-being, to provide clear decisions for well-being. In the case, this was animal groups, but in the case of humanity also have a culture and a different culture, and human culture becomes qualitatively different by the crucial significance of language and concepts. Animal groups are perceiving their life instinct, and the world intuitively, grasping the main sense of the situations intuitively in a holistic manner. In their perception of life and the world, rational thinking, grasping complex details, play, in comparison to that of humans, a relatively smaller role. Intuition captures the meaning of the whole picture, and this is what is vital. This is in which the animals are better than humans. And this intuition grasps the meaning of the whole situation immediately, directly. It is named also as Horicide, as a holistic way of apprehending reality, as Parker G. Palmer wrote in his book. In the early era of mankind, in ancient history, as well as in the first years of life of the newborn, Horicide was characteristic one. Rational thinking, corresponding to the details, only gradually strengthens with the accumulation of knowledge. This conjecture is confirmed by strict scientific results. In his book, Ian McGilchrist, the renowned neuroscientist, has drawn attention to the remarkable fact that our right and left hemispheres see the world in radically different ways. The left hemisphere focuses on the details and the already known things, and the right one is aimed at the whole, at the comprehensive, on the new and the unexpected things. The left hemisphere represents partial sight, and the right one, whole sight. And the left is the emissary, and the whole is the master. The right is the fundamental, and the left is the servant. In the past 200 years, the activity of the right hemisphere in Western civilization became subordinate to that of the left hemisphere. But in the balanced brain activity, the right hemisphere supplies the function of the master, and the left hemisphere is the emissary, the assistant. And if so, in prehistory, intuition played a much greater role in humanity than it does today. Partial sight is the mode of perception corresponding to the external senses and the empirically oriented rationality. As long as the gradually strengthening partial sight was in harmony with the whole sight, man lived in wholeness, in the cosmic whole. Whole sight perceives the world in the cosmic system of interpretation. We lived in the cosmic context in our prehistory. According to the eminent historian of religion, Mircea Eliade, man has become more and more distanced itself, alienated from heaven and closer to the earth throughout history. So man has become more and more involved in partial sight instead of whole sight. As history goes on, we became more and more small in thinking. And ancient, archaic man, as Eliade writes, was living in a primordial time. This primordial time is a different context. It is not the context of matter. It is the context of a logical order of the world. And what happened? Christianity radically changed the experience and the concept of time. And this is due to the fact that Christianity affirms the historicity of the person of Christ. History is meant in a time which corresponds to the mode of material existence, to the time which is the consecutive order of things existing in space. So this is the space and time of matter, the 3+1 dimensional reality. And so, but this time had warned the human being, society. This time, this material time, this modern time, the modern time perception had warned the human being, society, and the cosmos, and this destructive time was profane time. And the title of his book is The Sacred and the Profane. And this profound, this time is destructive, and it is nothing else but duration. It had to be ritually abolished in the cosmogonic ceremonies at Babylon 2, 3, 4,000 years ago in order to reintegrate ourselves to the mythical moment in which the world had come into existence, and the world was bathed in a pure, strong, and sacred time. Such a pure and strong time is experienced when we become endowed by the understanding of the cosmic order and our personal connections with it, with our natural relations understood and felt, then we are enjoying a pure and strong time. By understanding the cosmic order, we become a companion of the universe. Understanding the cosmic order requires the purity of the soul, because it is the pure soul that may lead the intellect towards the deepest understanding of nature and the deepest connections with nature. And strong because the understanding of the eternal cosmic life and our nature-given relations with it, with the power of the intellect, becomes cosmic. Before the era of modern religions like Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism, Eurasian shepherds lived in a system of interpretation of primordial reality that perceived the world in a causal, that is, logical, intellectual order of cosmic connections. The intellectual order of primordial reality is of a different quality than the historical time of the succession of spatial objects for the sensory perception, which belongs to the physical mode of the existence of matter. We can see here a picture about Eurasia. The idea of nature is at the very core of science. Nature preservation ought to take into account this semantic diversity when proposing policies. Hence, studying the concept of nature itself and its relationship with practical objects and social projects is crucial for conservation sciences and derived policies. Actually, the concept of nature is devaluated since already in the antiquity. A completely new vision of nature appeared with the Christianization of the Roman Empire, more linked with the Abrahamic idea of creation. Whereas in the Greek and Roman view of the world, even the gods were part of nature. In a monotheistic context, God transcends nature, and so does the man, and he is created at the image of God. But this means that nature becomes without God, without divine properties, without soul, and without mind. And this means a devaluation of nature. From a cosmic and primordial principle, nature got downgraded to a simple, through magnificent tool in the hands of God, and even material result of his action. So gradually nature became more and more devaluated during the last 3,000 years. Before it was like the cosmic wholeness, the cosmic totality. And we arrived after 3,000 years of development to a materialistic perception of reality, in which the partial side subordinates to itself whole side. So in the last 1,000 years, the balance between partial side and whole side had become broken. The Enlightenment and scientific revolution made the situation even worse in this respect, in the quality of life. In order to, of course, the material quality of life became improved, but the emotional and intellectual quality of life became worse, and the communal, social quality of life and our relations with nature became much worse. So what we can do, we need a new, exact, but broader and deeper, comprehensive science. And so let us start that in order to avoid systematically wrong decisions. We need an ontologically complete view of the world. The present scientific worldview is not complete. We need a complete view of the world, a realistic view about the foundations of reality. We need a healthy worldview that gives an ontologically complete view about the world and affirms our natural inclination for considering life and the world as infinitely valuable. In the term scientific worldview, science is generally understood to mean physics, but science is much more than physics. Biology has its own universal laws and independent from physics. So this means the natural sciences are much more than physics. Physics is only the science of inanimate matter. So if we complete the present science with a biology having its own universal laws and grasped by the exact means of mathematics, then we transform present-day science into an ontologically complete, comprehensive science. This is what I did. And I found this, the universal first principles of physics, biology, and the science of mind. The first principle is meant as from which it is possible to derive mathematically all the fundamental laws of physics or biology or the science of mind. And so this comprehensive science has three fundamental principles, three first principles: the principle of life, the principle of matter, and the principle of reason, rational mind. And all of them are naturally in harmony until the one of the principle of reason or the rational mind, which is empirically oriented, becomes dominating and excluding the others. And so this is when schizophreny or modernity and profound way of perception dominates. So what we need is to get a complete view about life and the world, because this is the basic task of nervous system. Animals, plants do it well, as the 4 billion years of evolution proves. So we humans are now in danger of extinction. We absolutely need to find such a science which makes our life or our views about life and the world essentially complete and healthy. So the comprehensive science worked out a complete picture about the universe as having three levels of reality: phenomena, observable phenomena, fundamental laws, and first principles in physics, in biology, and in the science of mind. The realm of matter, life, and mind. And life in the universe is realized in communities. The fundamental communities of cosmic life are, from the viewpoint of human beings, the following: cell, individual, family, nation, humanity, biosphere, or Gaia, and the living universe. All communities of life are endowed by sacred values. It is the principle of life tells that you are living when you are acting for your life, when you are acting for improving your life. If you are not doing this, you are not living in the exact sense of the word. Every tree makes it very well. Every animal makes it very well. Only the humans are not practicing active love of life in the full sense of the word. And this means active love of life, it means active life of communities of life, active love of family, of ourselves, of our nation, of humanity, of the living kingdom on the earth, and the living universe. So the architecture of the living universe is made up of three levels of reality: 3 ranges of reality, matter, life, and mind, and 7 cosmic levels of life, cell, individual, and so on, complemented by a cosmic population of biological autonomies, because every living being is able to make decisions by itself. So the main conclusion of our talk is that the crucial factor able to ensure the long-term advancement of people is the comprehensive, life-affirming, and world-affirming, nature-friendly worldview, determining our decision-making system and personal identity, and it is in harmony with ancient traditions. The more completely we conceive and realize the uplifting urges arising from the life instinct, from the cosmic life instinct, connecting us with the cosmic nature, the more complete our life will be. All of us are personally interested to live life in the good way, and we have to know what is life, and we have to know what is the universe in order to find a way towards living our life in a way for our well-being, for our comprehensive well-being. The better our relations with nature, the better is our quality of life. Thank you for thinking about it.